Good morning and welcome to another ramble. We got a lot to cover today. CEO of Jagex Mod North just dropped a fucking heater on Twitter. Not actually on Twitter, really. It's just the RuneScape. The RuneScape Twitter just put out something saying it's time we take action on our approach to microtransactions. So we'll dive into that. We're going to dive into some of the summer SweepUp. I know I already made a massive fucking ramble on that, but we have to cover more on it because I just want to share some of my thoughts. Apparently some things are bugged as well. So we have the live chat. I know you guys can barely see the live chat right now because it's all yellow. I just bear with me. We're going to get to the other scene, but I wanted to go full screen for the intro because we have something to taste test. This is a pineapple mango OG original sugar-free Red Bull with a little pinch of salt in it. And this thing's fucking amazing. I've been blending so much stuff in the mornings because I got a new Ninja blender, and we're going to give us a little taste test. I know you guys have been missing those energy drink, reviews. So here we go. 10. The first perfect 10. It's a perfect 10. No, it's really fucking good though. It's like silky smooth. And yeah, I'm a huge fan of this kind of stuff. So anyway, let's jump right in. Also, all these rambles are on Spotify, linked in the description and in or pinned in the comments as well. So go check it out there. Go follow the show. Go if you want to show some support, that's the best way to support right now is jumping over there and listening. So Spotify is a great platform. You guys should check it out. Anyway, we're gonna listen to this. I'm gonna add some of my commentary, but this is huge. I did not think we'd get to this point, honestly. Let's check it out.
Our MTX approach is harming RuneScape, and it's time that we took action.
Damn. Do you see what I mean by like heater? Like literally no prefacing, just straight up. We fucked up, and it's time we unfuck it up. Like that's great. Great job.
RuneScape 3 is almost 25 years old, and we wholeheartedly believe that this game has many more years ahead of it. If we want to go from where we are today, where, bluntly, our population isn't really growing, to decades of a booming community, then it's time we take some big swings, even when they aren't easy or simple. This isn't a fluffy thing to say, it's our mission statement. We love this game and it deserves to thrive. The era of a tainted RuneScape 3 is coming to an end.
Damn. The era, like that's the kind of word I use, like when shit's tainted. You know what I mean? He just straight up says that. Like he really is like completely avoiding all the fluff or whatever he said. Like this is insane. And he's totally right. I mean, you guys have heard, if you guys watch my rambles or listen to my Sae Bae casts, I have always said, I mean, microtransactions destroy games. I genuinely am a player that has zero interest in a game if it has microtransactions that benefit you, like that give direct benefit to your account other than just cosmetics. Even cosmetics can be a little silly when you can buy them, but at least I can understand that and appreciate it for what it is, to give the developers more capital to work with. But like, seriously, as soon as you can just pay real money, the game's over. I'm sorry. Like I remember I had a friend that was like addicted to Clash of Clans when I was in college, and I just saw the game and I just like, dude, you can just pay to win. What the fuck is the point? Like what the fuck is the point of investing any time when you can just literally fork out $5,000 and just become a fucking baller? I never got that. So this is great. This is great to hear so far. Let's hear it.
When our work is done, we want every single player to feel the same ownership that we've fostered so well.
Why the fuck was that dude's head on fire? What? Okay, you know what? Maybe it's beyond microtransactions. This game is it's
done. We want
this dude's head is burning on fire. Is this normal? Did somebody light him on fire?
Every single player to feel the same ownership that we've fostered so well in our approach to old school. There are many areas of the game that require real change, but the area we're talking about specifically today is our approach.
I'm sorry, I need to bring this up as well. Why is it every fucking time I see anything RS3 related, it's at the Grand Exchange? Like, is this the only place in the game? I swear, it's like, am I the only one that thinks that way? This is, again, coming from somebody extremely ignorant of the game, but it seems like every bit of footage I ever see of RS3 is like a fucking like circus at the Grand Exchange. I don't get it. But anyway, continuing.
Today, MTX and RuneScape is a major part of how we fund the game. Despite the continual community feedback out there in the world, whether on Reddit, on a survey, or at RuneFest, we've been tentative to take action because of that reality. And that change now comes with real risk. But it's time to be brave. Because frankly, sticking to the path we're on also represents real risk to this game, both in its ability to have a growing community and to how it sustains itself. We're now on a mission to rejuvenate RS3's future with a firm focus on game integrity. That means thinking about the ways that we monetize, how the game looks, the broader player experience, and our approach to producing grade A content. We've run surveys, we've captured feedback. Now is the time for us to stop talking and get actions on the table. Today is all about how we're doing that. And so on that note, I'd like to hand over to the great team working on our mission to transform our approach to MTX and what you can expect to see in the months ahead.
Ooh, baby.
We need to test our thinking on big changes we want to make to how MTX is approached in RuneScape. These need to be changes that you feel are right and also have some consideration to the game's sustainability.
We also must address the unhealthy relationship of microtransactions within our game design. To make those changes, we need to better understand the implications any change could have for the game, from design to player behavior to the game's current operating model.
To find what works, we need to run a series of experimental changes with our aptly named experiments. We know not everything can be tested with surveys or paper-based designs. So any new ideas we try will be short-term tests, no more than a couple of weeks, that we conduct in the game to get tangible data and feedback from you.
Beginning next month, we'll be testing a new experiment
What is happening?
each month for
They
3
lit the Grand
months,
Exchange on fire.
with communication before they enter the game covering why we're doing it and what we're looking to learn.
We'll listen to your feedback while it's live, and then pull the experiment from the game. After that, we'll look at the data and build a picture of how the experiment went.
And given it's a conversation, you can expect us to follow up with what we've learned and our next steps after we've completed all 3.
Our first experiment in July turns off Treasure Hunter entirely, with only stars and knowledge bonds available for direct purchase during the experimental.
I don't know what stars and knowledge bonds are, but knowledge bonds kind of sound like XP lamps. But I honestly do not know. Knowledge bonds. I have no idea. Isn't Treasure Hunter the big bulk of like all the MTX? This is, again, I feel like I'm not completely suited to be discussing this, but I do find, you know, this is very admirable of RuneScape. We'll continue. If you guys have any, you know, if you guys in the chat have played RS3, let me know.
Period.
Our second experiment, in August, runs during our next Double XP event, where we'll disable the ability to use MTX-based skilling items, like proteans and dummies, for the duration of the event.
Our third experiment in September will see us launch a host of cosmetic overrides onto the marketplace, including items previously available only via Treasure Hunter.
During these
The marketplace. Wait, what? So what's the difference between a marketplace and does the marketplace require real money to be spent?
Host of cosmetic overrides onto the marketplace, including items previously available only via Treasure Hunter.
What? I
During
don't get
these
it.
3 months, we'll also launch one longer running test, Cosmetic Free Worlds. We expect these to be available for at least 4 weeks.
Yeah, you know what would have been so funny right here is if, like, you know how they're like transitioning between like the super overridden character model, they just like straight up go back to like RS Classic right there. That'd be
Cosmetic
hilarious.
Free Worlds. We expect these to be available for at least
Still looks the
4
same.
weeks, and it will help us gauge interest in a more grounded visual identity for the game.
Everyone can get involved in providing feedback, whether you participate directly in the test or not, and we'll be listening to your opinions across the community.
We're super excited to launch experiments that will teach us
What
what we
was
need to know
that?
to really improve the
that?
pace of any microtransactions in the game.
Our experiments might not always hit the mark for everyone, but doing this with you lets us find out what works and what doesn't.
We are excited to go on this journey with you, Scapers. Together, we can find a better way forward.
Thanks to the whole team working hard on making this happen. This has never been done before, so please do provide the team and your fellow players the space for constructive dialogue throughout this process. It won't be easy. Experimenting means there could be imperfections, which is why we're involving you and being open about our challenges. Through what we learn in the data and with your feedback, we can find our path forwards. We know where we want to be, we just need to figure out how to get there. We're as serious as can be about overhauling RS3's approach to monetization and creating a future where our success is measured by the size, the engagement, and the satisfaction of our community. The process of change starts today as we head towards an exciting new era for this beautiful game. If you'd like to know more, please do head on over to runescape.com for a detailed blog on our decision making and some commitments on how we'll approach this. Thank you as always for watching, and we'll see you in Gillinor.
Damn. Okay, that was impressive. The thing is, I'm kind of, yeah, like I was reading some of your guys' chat, and it really does sound like it's kind of too late. But at the same time, it's almost like them acknowledging it is already just like a breath of fresh air. And it really is a sad state of affairs that RS3 really did become so tainted for so many years that it just will always have this kind of taintedness to it. But I like this kind of direction that they're going down. So yeah, very impressive. I do wonder, somebody was like, so what's the catch? That means membership prices are jumping up by 5x. But yeah, no, I mean, and one of the other things I wanted to say was like this has happened many times. I'll be mid Sae Bae cast, mid ramble or something, talking about what I think is like, oh, this is an original, brilliant idea that they could introduce into OSRs. And then somebody in the chat's like, that's already in RS3. So RS3 does a lot of things right, but it's just so destroyed by MTX. Fucking sad. So let's see what the Twitter community has to say. This is always like very much like, scary. You don't really want to be browsing. You don't want to just be blindly browsing X at this point in the year 2025, but we'll see it. Randy says, Chad, RuneScape is the greatest MMO to ever exist, truly. When people say RuneScape, they mean RuneScape 3, I'm pretty sure, because I would agree OSRS is, but like RuneScape. Anyway, yeah, dub. Okay, just none of this will fix the game. GG, you tried. All right. Yeah, interesting. So awesome, but it just might be 10 years too late. Yeah, unlucky. What do you guys have to say? I agree, but the aliens in human suits comment, though, they totally lost the medieval plot and hope they can bring it back with at least a little. Carefully scrolling, Mr. Bet. Yeah, I'm actually carefully scrolling. I would give RS3 a fair chance if they remove pay to win MTX. Yeah, and I think they've already done that with Iron Man. I believe like people have told me they're like, Iron Man is what makes RS3 good because there is no microtransactions. You can't take advantage of it. Making the game more difficult and grindy isn't the solution. Most of us adults really only play during 2 XP events, taking away the incentives as mentioned. This guy's a paid actor. This guy's literally a plant. He just like comes here to be like, RS, you don't need to do this. What? You don't need to do this. Just fucking make it easier. Give us more treasure hunter. Just actual plant. Can we stop with the healthy food ads? God. All right. So I also wanted to look at the Reddit thread and see what people are saying on Reddit about this exact post. So this and RS3 Leagues what? There's an RS3 Leagues coming out? Okay. That's actually, I see. That is making a lot more sense in my head. RS3 is having their own league. That's cool. Looks like they're really trying to push to bring people back. Yeah, because if they do an RS3 Leagues right now, is that what they're trying to do? When is it coming up? Because RS3 Leagues does sound like it will kind of be a fail, but who knows? If they're getting good PR like this, maybe people will jump over and try it out, especially if there's no pay to win in the leagues. If there's no pay to win in the leagues, that's going to be a fucking banger. And that's like actually that's genius, actually. That's a genius way to bring people into the actual RuneScape universe, like RS3 universe. So, yeah, I'd probably try RS3 Leagues. Yeah, that would be the only reason I would try RS3. And I hate Leagues, but it makes it seem like I don't have to actually invest any real time into RS3 and I can just get a taste for it. But I'm going to be honest, RS3 is so fucking complicated. I look at the interfaces and I'm like, give me away, take me away. Like, no. So that's how I kind of feel. That's kind of like the boomer in me, though. I don't know if you guys feel the same. I just feel like whenever I play any new game and I have to learn all these interfaces and learn what the fuck is going on, it's just like a nightmare. And that's like literally what makes me not want to play new games. I'm on the opinion that RS3 is an extremely fun game outside of the MTX aspect. Yeah, I would like to believe I would agree with that. I just haven't actually played it, so let's see. As a former RS3 player, they're doing the right thing here. A few years ago, I would only ever log on during double XP and bank stand levels instead of actually playing the game. I have level 80 in divination. I can't even tell you what the content is like or how you're actually supposed to play that skill. You can just buy levels for like 20 bucks. I bought levels because I wanted to play questing content. Didn't really care about the rest of the game because honestly, everything else was boring. Didn't feel like bossing or skilling had any value, and there aren't any good mini games where you can just play with other people. I gave OSRs an earnest try this past leagues, and I've been on practically every day since. Engaging with the content, I have full graceful, love Guardians of the Rift, Temperos, Forestry, and Zora is my absolute favorite boss after dying to it 30 plus times trying to figure out the rotations. Earning things feel like it has value. It's true. I still like RS3. It has good content, but RS3 has created an attitude where double XP is the only optimal time to play it. And you aren't really even playing. You're just clicking proteins and dummies at the Grand Exchange until you hit the level you want. Then you log out until next level XP. Jesus fucking Christ. This just sounds horrible. All right. Yeah, got it. Yeah, God. All right. Let's continue. Double XP weekend, genuinely. Like, I don't know. Do you guys... I feel like I've had this conversation before. Do you think like double XP weekend could ever work in OSRs? When I hear things like that, it's just like, that's a nightmare. Never do anything like that. But at the same time, you know, our version of double XP weekends is like week of release, brand new updates. That's what it feels like because you got to fucking abuse, and then everything gets like nerfed to hell. So that's like kind of like our version of double XP weekends. You know what I mean? Half XP weekends was actually like unironically a good meme, and it actually kind of makes sense. Imagine there was even a weekend where no XP can be gained, so you just fuck around, play mini games and whatever. Nobody would log in. Let's be honest, nobody would log in. We're also like efficiency. Yeah, that would actually be a horrible idea. Now we'd all log in. We are still addicted. We'd just like riot basically. The 0 XP weekends would just be rioting in Falador. I've tried going back to RS3 multiple times. It's always way too much to process, figuring out metas, training methods, etc. Too much of a time sink to learn to care. Yeah. I mean, we hear this with like Josh Strife Hayes and, you know, whoever else. Jimmy, I know, talks about, makes videos on like MMOs and stuff. And really, I think it was maybe a Josh Strife Hayes video where it was like, actually, it might have been his Sae Bae cast where he really like drilled home to me the concept of like MMOs really is like, it's kind of like a boomer thing where like you find your MMO and then you attach to it for the rest of your life. Because that's OSRs for me. I'm never going to play any other, you know, MMO ever. Like I won't. I'm barely going to try unless something came out that was so incredible. But I genuinely can't even imagine something that would be like a more pleasant experience than just playing OSRs. So yeah, it's kind of hard. It's a really tough position to be in. They really did make a huge blunder back when they started introducing microtransactions. Like that genuinely just fucking was a slow death to the game. Kind of sad. So anyway, yeah, so I'm kind of pleased with what they're doing. We'll see how it works. It does kind of sound like a headache once they started kind of going into the details. Like, we're going to do a trial of this, and then a trial of this, and a trial of this, and gauge a bunch of feedback. But that's kind of how you have to do it. You can't just like go, microtransactions gone, because, you know, how is that going to, that might even destroy the game even more. Who knows? I mean, I don't think it would, but it could, you know. So here's the next thing I want to cover. We're going to kind of switch gears And I want to just go over some of the summer sweep up stuff. I feel like I did make a juicy ramble on this the other week, talking about everything that's going to be coming into the game. But literally just this morning, we got I'm pretty sure, did we get everything? This week brings summer sweep up combat changes. Okay, so that's it. So this is going to be a fucking banger. So let's look at the change log. Actually, is this the full... Is this just the combat stuff? Is this what's happening? Yeah, I believe so. So let's just go down the list, and I want to share some of my thoughts. If you guys have any thoughts further on this, yeah, just kind of share it in the live chat. So if you're struggling like us in this sweltering heat wave, it's actually like raining and cold here in Oregon. This week's update should bring some welcome refreshment. This week features all of the changes we outlined in our initial summer sweep up blogs. If you're not in the know, then you can... What all? Okay, so this is literally everything. That's insane. We'll go section by section and try to give you every change in a list format. If you're wondering on the rationale behind a certain change, we'd really recommend checking out the blogs linked above. Let's kick things off. So again, this is almost like a reminder at this point. And I will have some thoughts, obviously, to share now that I've been kind of sitting with it. It's kind of cool that they're doing all this. And this was actually way earlier than I thought. I thought like the summer sweep up stuff wasn't even going to happen until like late August because it just seemed like so much. But this is all in the game live right now. So boss changes of TOA. Protect from melee now mitigates all damage at Baba. Unless invocations which reduce the effectiveness of protection prayers are activated. Baba now spawns 1 to 4 baboons rather than 1 to 8, depending on group size. If jungle japes is enabled, baboons will spawn 2 banana piles on death. Damage from Baba's boulders throw attacks is now always split completely with any appropriate object. This means that even splitting the damage with sarcophagi will nullify the damage you take. That's great. Protection prayers now mitigate more damage from Akka's basic attacks. Akka now only protects against the same style he's attacking with. Again, that was a really cool change. I think they even made a change post me making my ramble, and I think that was... well, here, let's just continue. I might say it. Akka's stat drain effects now only affects combat skills. Akka's special attacks now occur every 7 attacks, up from 6. That's cool. Akka's enrage phase now spawns fewer orbs. I see, that was the one thing I really wished. I really wished that instead of just fewer orbs, it was an invocation to have diagonal orbs. It's so much more pleasant dodging just northeast, southwest directional orbs. You know what I mean? Like nothing going diagonal. As soon as you start adding the diagonals, that shit's a fucking brain fuck. You're like, what is happening? I don't even know where I can be right now to dodge this. So I really wish they would have gone down that route, but it's okay. Fewer is fine as well. Akka's Stay Vigilant invocation means he'll use a special attack every 6 attacks as opposed to the base. Also, this is just, again, this is very irrelevant. It's not that relevant, but honestly, the enrage phase, what they could have done to make it feel a little bit more like intuitive to dodge diagonals and just any of the orbs is to have a trail of that orb, because it feels like you're trying to attack, you're switching to your special weapon or something, and you take a glance at the screen and there's just a big fucking plethora of orbs that you don't even, it takes like half a second to even register where the orbs are moving. If there was a trail, like a visual trail of where each orb is going, I feel like that would just be so much easier on the brain to be like, oh, okay, like this orb I know was moving diagonal, because it feels like you're not just constantly staring at the screen, looking at every single orb. You're trying to move across the... Anyway, I'm just kind of going on about that. But yeah, that enrage phase just never landed properly. It just wasn't. It was just kind of like some dev was like, here, let's just fuck everybody up at the very end of this annoying fight. Just for no reason. We're not going to play test it. It's just a fucking mess of sperms floating everywhere. Just get fucked up, 25s, nothing you can do about it. Not fun. There's like 10 orbs in total now. It's okay. Oh, okay. Nice. So they drastically reduced it. Nice. Okay. Well, that's good to know. I haven't actually tried it out. Akka Stay Vigilant invocation means he'll use a special attack every 6 attacks as opposed to the base of version 7. Soldier Scarabs now have their magic defense reduced. Scarabs inside Kefri's encounter no longer scale with their defense. Arcane Scarabs are now guaranteed to move after a certain number of attacks. And Zebek's waves have smarter interactions with pushback. Thank God. Yeah, if you get pushed back by that wave, it's just fucking over for you. What up, Dale? Changes to other rooms. Cursed Baboons and Baboon Shamans now always take maximum damage from range attacks. To compensate, their HP has been slightly increased. Remove 2 waves of Baboon Assailants on the Path of Atmakin. Ooh, nice. Volume of water required for the Path of Krontis no longer scales linearly with the number of players. This means you'll be able to make a mistake or two in larger groups. That's good. Slightly reduced hit points on the Obelisk on the Path of Het. Deposit Pot in the Nexus now functions as a full deposit box. Thank goodness. That's nice. Loot changes. We recommend that you check out a write-up on this. Okay, so the loot changes, we kind of already discussed this. Let's just see the overall, though. Quick overview. Overall purple chance for raid levels beyond 300 is reduced. So everything below 300 pretty much the same. I'm pretty sure even like the Fang and the Light Bearer just like exactly where they were. At raid levels 350, 400, 450, and 500, the weighting of the Light Bearer and Osmumpton's Fang reduces. This is in turn means that the weighting of other uniques like Tunic and Shadow increases. In essence, you get a purple. If you get a purple at a higher raid level, the odds of it being a Fang or Light Bearer go down, while the odds of it being an Eldin Sword, Masori Piece, or Tunic and Shadow go up. But as we know, all purple rates have been reduced at those higher levels. So I think it was something like a 20% reduction of purples. But if you do get a purple in like a 500, much more likely to not get fucked by a ring. You know what I mean? So very cool. Yeah, there's not enough orbs, as you would say. It's been reduced to Toontown. Ooh, cool. I kind of like Toon. No, I hate Toontown now. Actually, I don't know how I feel about Toontown. I just always use it as a meme. For the Fangless among you, we've added the Jewel of a Masket. When attached to Karis Partisan, you'll have a Karis Partisan of a Masket. This version of the Karis Partisan is slightly less effective against Scarabs. Scarabane bonus reduced from 33 to 15%, but gains 50 plus stab bonus and 22 strength bonus, and only works within the Tombs of a Masket. It should slot neatly between the existing Karis Partisan and Osmumpton's Fang, being slightly stronger than the Zamarakian Hosta inside the tombs. Interesting. Of course, obtaining these jewels can feel like a monumental struggle, so we're making some changes to how to make these significantly less annoying to obtain. Base drop rate improved from 1 in 80 to 1 in 50. Nice. And base rate still scales as before, meaning that at 75 kill count, your base drop is 1 in 16. That's amazing. If you have any other jewels, this rate improves further. All right. Elemental weaknesses and defense changes. We're not going to jump into the spreadsheets or anything, but one of the things I am kind of excited about, actually, I'm not as excited about it because I actually just got my Trident of the Swamp on Squat Cam, but I was kind of looking forward to doing Twin Flame Whisperer. I still could, because Twin Flame Whisperer with the Tome of Earth, because it's going to have like a 50% like Earth weakness or something. I thought that would have been kind of interesting. I still could test it, to be fair, but building on some of the systems we implemented with Project Rebalance in 2024, we're rolling out more elemental weaknesses and making further adjustments to existing defenses on a variety of monsters. The specifics are absolutely massive, so we'd recommend checking out the spreadsheet or waiting for the OSR's wiki to update everything that you're interested in taking down. For elemental weaknesses, most of them will have applied according to the following rules. Air weaknesses can be found on things that fly or float, gas, ghouls, spooky specters. Water weakness can be found on things that are particularly fiery. Earth weaknesses against tough in exteriors. Is that still including mole? Because I swear that did not make any sense. Using earth against mole makes 0 sense. It just does not make any sense. Fire weaknesses burn icy assailants and naturey nemesis to a crisp. Okay, perhaps the most interesting thing you'll see on the spreadsheet is flat armor. Again, we've covered this. Moons has it. If you're not in the know, a flat armor value of 2 means an enemy takes 2 less damage than you would have hit. Meaning if you hit a 10, they'll only receive 8 damage. Negative flat armor means enemies take more damage per hit. In practice then, as an enemy with positive flat armor might encourage slower hitting weapons or weapons with fewer hit spots, while enemies with negative flat armor encourage fast hitting weapons. So really cool. Realistically, we aren't likely to say this NPC has 20 flat armor, or hope you brought your Elder Maul, but it's a small balancing lever that we can tweak to nudge things one way or the other, similar to the more traditional defensive stats. In cases where we've introduced positive flat armor to an NPC, we're bumping HP down slightly so that the kill time isn't likely to change. Okay, so again, we kind of already have kind of talked about this, so we're going to move on. This blog is linked in the description if you guys want to get the full rundown. Loot table changes. In what's becoming a theme, we'd heavily advise you to check out the blog. Again, linked in the description. In short, we're making tweaks to some loot tables with a particular focus on runes, high-tier food, herbs, seeds, and gems. These changes are intended to reduce and redistribute the incoming volume of some resource drops, with the aim being to strengthen the value of these drops in the economy and for future loot tables. The example that we gave in our initial blog sums it up nicely. Consider that Torsal Seeds used to sell for north of 50,000 GP to other players. Following the addition of Phantom Muspah and Tombs of Masket, the supply of Torsal Seeds rose dramatically, and now they fetch a comparatively meager 6,500 GP. The knock-on effect of this is that for a future table to have a good Torsal Seed drop, meaning one that has a similar GP value to a good Torsal Seed drops at the time of release of Tombs of Masket or Phantom Muspah, we'd have to drop almost 8 times as many. Or just don't. I don't know. I hate... I feel like I've talked about this before, but one of the things I absolutely don't like, I get it to some extent, that Jagex is basing drop tables off of GP value, is I feel like it's so much more intuitive to base things off of like level requirement values. So for example, what I mean by that is like, think of Chambers drop table. When they dropped Chambers, it was like, here's like 50 fucking million dwarfweed. Was it dwarfweeds that was just insane? They would just pump them out. I think it was like that. I know. I don't know. It just felt like there was some herbs that were already low because I think dwarfweeds already were just in such surplus. And then they're like, oh, these are low value, so we're just dump them. But you wouldn't do that. Like, I feel like intuitively you would not be dumping out the high tier herbs just because their GP value is low. Like, keep it like normally distributed, as in, so if you guys have ever just seen a default sort of monster herb table, like a normal Slayer monster, you look at their herb table or their seed table and things go based on the level. So it's like you're going to get many more Guams, like they're much more common, and then all the way down to Torsal or Dwarfweed is usually what it ends on. It doesn't even have like Snapdragon and Torsal's usually, I think there's one other, but I think those are usually excluded. But you just go down the list and they're getting more and more rare as they go down in level. It's not like, oh, the fucking GP value of this on this day is this, so we're just now going to crank it up. It's just so bizarre to have done that. Herbs is like the obvious one that's like super easy to tell. But yeah, I mean, I just feel like the level is what you should be basing it off of. Like, why are we basing things off of just the current price? Because then if you keep doing that, it's just always going to be this weird, like, thing. Like, just, I don't know, go off of levels. Go off of, like, the levels of things. I feel like with herbs, it's super, super easy to do that. With some things, it's a bit more complicated. But again, as I said, I get it to some extent. I feel like the team understands that most of the player base wouldn't give a fuck about that. And they just want GP. I want GP. I want GP. So it's just like, you just throw caution to the wind and be like, all right, here's your GP per hour that you can expect. It's just bizarre to me. Anyway, I kind of was all over the place right there, but hopefully you got the idea that I was trying to touch on. Keep an eye out for the new fishing enhancers. Shark Lure, Zulrah, Muspah, Vorkath, Laren's chest, and the Brimstone chest all have a chance at rewarding some of these in lieu of typical food drops. They'll have you catching more sharks than you can carry. Additionally, Spoils of War have been nerfed considerably and now have a loot table mirroring the Castle Wars reward crates, with Pure Essence thrown into the mix too. We believe these changes should have some economic benefits for the majority of our players, but we'll be keeping a close eye on the herb and seed drops in particular in case we've overshot a little. Okay. Also, before we cover the Obor, Bryophyta, and keys, apparently it's bugged right now. Is that right, guys? Somebody was saying that before the ramble started, that this shit is bugged. So, but let's see. It's no secret that the key system used to fight Obor and Bryophyta isn't the most well-liked, particularly if you're gated out of CAs because you've not done your shift at the Hill or Moss Giants. again, I think I saw some comment on this. That is just not it. That is not the case. It takes fucking 1 hour to gather the keys you need for Moss Giants, or, you know, I think literally the CAs is just do 5 KC. It's like, do fucking 5 KC. Like, this is, I don't know why they keep putting this as like the reason. Like, that it's the CAs that are the reason. Like, what are we talking about? The whole reason was the keys were too rare. That's literally it. And it has nothing to do with CAs. It just has to do with, like, you fucking put a Bryophita essence on the master clue table. Anyway, on the flip side, their uniques are valuable for the tier of players that they're aimed at and would likely plummet in value if they were freely obtainable. We've made a chunk of changes here to improve access, address common Bryophita pain points, and respect the existing commitment of players who've racked up a bunch of kills against these gigantic foes. Ober and Bryophita no longer require a key to be fought. Ober and Bryophita can drop their own respective keys. To compensate, each of them now has a reduced simple loot table. It's similar to regular giants with a chance for giant bones and an increased chance for their keys. Ooh, giant bones. Interesting. Inside each of their layers is a chest requiring a giant or mossy key to open, with a loot table identical to the existing ones. This chest can only be opened after the boss is defeated. For the high scores, kill count is only obtainable by opening their respective chests. Bryophyta's growthlings can now be left click if you have an axe equipped. I wish it wasn't even equipped. I wish it was just attack. That's cool. Bryophyta's growthlings cannot spawn back to back. Thank God. You'll still need to use at least one key to access their respective layers, but beyond that, the choice is yours. Yeah, the whole thing is very odd to me. Whatever. It's probably fine. Growthlings are still annoying. Yeah, it just feels like, can we just get any playtester to just do more than 5 Bryophyta and realize how dog shit the fight is? I don't know. It's genuinely, like, they make all the really high level PVM super fucking fluid and engaging, and then the lower tier stuff is like, there's the idea of like, this is going to help you learn how to kill the big boys, and all the fights at the lower level are just like actual agony, like just pure pain. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah, you don't have to. No. You do have to grind hundreds of keys for your master clue, but you can get the keys apparently just from killing the boss. I don't really get it. I really don't, because they're saying that they're still trying to like respect the existing commitment of players who've racked up a bunch of kills. I don't know. We'll look more into that. Maybe I'll make another little ramble on that, because I do need to get my Bryophyta's essence on this account. Duke Susselis. We're spitting this big fella out as well because he's got a lot going on. Following today's update, you'll be able to pick the mushrooms in Duke Succulus. I like saying Succulus. I know it's not that. Prison 8 times, then they'll despawn. Okay. Letting you stock up on a handful of potions to weaken Duke. Ooh, okay. But won't my mushrooms and potions despawn after each kill, you ask? No, we respond. You'll be able to hold on them between kills, which means that depending on your herb lore level, you can prep up to 2, 3, or 4 kills at once. You've got level 62, 72, or 82 herb lore respectively. Ooh. To prevent players locking themselves out, you can't use mushrooms directly on Duke anymore. But you can still use potions and ground mushrooms. Left-click feed will work if you have dust and an uncrushed mushroom, though this isn't strictly intended, and we might make further changes. Okay. For most players, this will speed up Duke kills, so his HP has been increased from 440 to 485 to compensate. While we're on the topic of speed, we've adjusted Duke's speed CA's times down by 45 seconds each, but change their behavior so that they only begin once Duke Succulus wakes up. In effect, prep is no longer part of the time consideration for speed CAs. Okay. Last up for Duke is a teeny quality of life improvement to save those wrists. We've added a left-click feed option to Duke that will automatically use any potions or crushed mushrooms that you've got to weaken Duke, meaning you won't have to spam him anymore. Nice. Other boss and PVM-related changes. The first one's amazing. Removed an earlier phase of Fasani's Nightmare, you'll effectively start at P2, meaning you'll see 2, 3, and 4 walkers between phases. To compensate, speed times for combat achievements have been lowered by 130 each. Sleepy Tablet now is a drop rate of 1 in 25, and it's guaranteed on your 25th kill. On death against Fasani's Nightmare, you'll respawn just outside of the instance rather than at the default respawn location. Okay, I want to share just a few thoughts on Nightmare. It still feels... This is the really sad part about making these just slow trickle updates to Fasani's, is that it truly... Let me know what you guys think, but it truly feels like, to me, this is not the end of it. Give it a year, and there's going to be another buff to Fasani's, another buff to Fasani's, another buff to Fasani's. It's just... This is what I mean by ripping Band-Aids off. Like... Maybe this was the final Band-Aid that they're ripping off, and this is just how Fasani's will be until the end of time. I highly doubt it, though, because it's still just not in the place it should be. So what really sucks about this is I would love it if it just felt like, wow, okay, Fasani's it's now time to grind Fasani's. But I really, truly feel that this isn't the end of it. It feels like me trying to put any time into Fasani's is just going to be massively devalued again in a year or two. And that's just a really shitty position to be in. Again, I could be wrong. This could be the final thing that's ever done to Fasani's. I just doubt it. Next will always perform at least 2 more melee attacks whenever she uses one on all phases. That's amazing. Next can be damaged slightly beyond a phase transition threshold. For example, if Next swaps phase at 2720 HP, you'll be able to bring her down to 2550 HP before she begins nulling all damage again. That's really great. I wish it was just full null, but this is just an amazing, amazing update. Great job. Next's magic attack in her final phase will have its damage reduced by 25% if you activate Protect from Magic late. That's really cool. I think you get like a tick delay. That's a really amazing change. I'd even say do 50%. But okay. Damaging Blood Reavers will heal you for 75% of the damage dealt. Huey Codal now drops uniques at a rate of 1 in 18 instead of 1 in 23. This means all uniques are slightly more common. We've increased the weighting of the Dragon Hunter Wand too. Dragon Hunter Wand now has 40% magic damage and 75% magic accuracy against dragons, and now can autocast Ancient Magics. So fucking happy. Like, that is just, like, it's so cool because I've only been able to use my Ancient Staff, and I have a Dragon Hunter Wand, and being able to now autocast Ancients, like bringing that to like God Wars, for example, because the wand already has a default 10% magic, like standard bonus, basically. So now all my tasks get a 10% boost, all my normal Slayer tasks, even if it's not a dragon. It's amazing. Yeah, that is huge for the wand havers. Shout out my wand havers, you know. Huey Codal's tail now is 300 HP, down from 400. Huey Codal hide now drops always as a batch of 3. Huey Codal hide armor pieces have their crafting requirements lowered by 10 levels. Hunter and fishing activities within Napotsley have had a quality of life pass and should feel less buggy. Opening the chest within Napotsley now has a cooler sound effect. Okay, Blue Moon now spawns fewer tornadoes. That's cool. Deranged Archaeologist drops a new steel ring. This ring has 24 stab, slash, and crush defense. That's an insane ring. This is genuinely better than Ring of Suffering. This was one of the things that I felt like was actually too good. I don't like the idea of having a... Like, I think it's just my OCD, honestly, and it really is just OCD. My OCD was just screaming at me, saying that the Ring of Suffering should be best in slot defensive, and everything else should just align with that or be slightly lower. The fact that we do have a ring that is more tanky than a Ring of Suffering, even if it's just 3 styles with no other benefits, just doesn't, like, just for some reason it just bothers me a little bit, but it's whatever. This is still a really cool ring to have added, and it's just my own issue. Granite Ring now provides 12 range defense, 2 stab, slash, and crush defense, and -2 magic defense. All of these values are doubled upon imbuing. Wow. Yeah. Included a stats image at the end of the list. Honestly, yeah, I actually kind of wish the Granite Ring didn't have any negative magic defense. What ring gives negative? I think this is like the only fucking ring in the game now that has a negative stat to it. Is there any other ring that I can even think of that has a negative stat? It just feels irrelevant. Stop. Like, because now you imbue it and you fuck yourself even harder. Because if it's going to double the negative magic defense, just get rid of this. Get rid of that. That's just silly. That's very silly. Yeah, just... No, people will... A 12, a plus 24 range defense is actually quite substantial. That really is. That is something that has use to it, especially if you're like lower level and just pulling a Granite Ring. The thing is, a Granite Ring actually is kind of rare to get because you do need 75 Slayer and then you got to kill Grotesque Guardians. So it's like you'll most likely already be like 80 Slayer by the time you've actually even had like a reasonable enough task to maybe go rate. And that's if you're doing Gargoyle. I don't know. It does feel like this could be a little bit better. Thank you, Anjiru, for the sub. Adjusted Cerberus Fire Special. They no longer deal damage in an area of effect and appear more predictably, making it a little easier to react to them and mitigate damage. Ward of Arceus now reduces prayer drain from demon attacks by 33%. This effect stacks multiplicatively. Multiplicatively. Why is this word such a mouthful? With the Spectral Spirit Shield, meaning you lose 10 prayer points per Ghost of Cerberus if you're using both of these. Woo. Keymaster Teleport Scrolls now drop in batches of 7 rather than 3, so should be sustainable. And they're now tradable. That's amazing. Grotesque Guardian's Rockfall attack now only stuns you in the center, but still deals damage in a 3x3 area as before. That's silly. It is silly. I mean, it's a nice change, but also, as I said in the previous ramble, can we stop with the fucking anti-gravity chamber that we're fighting the Grotesque Guardians in? Why are some rocks like falling fast and some are falling slow? Like fucking Isaac Newton fucking disproved this bullshit black magic. Come on. Or was it Isaac Newton, or maybe it was somebody before him? It was some fucking Greek person, I think. Actually, I think I'm wrong on this. Who was the one that did the fucking Leaning Tower of Pisa fucking test? I don't know. Whatever. Halberds can now hit flying enemies like AVNCs, including Kriara. That would be Rome. Yeah, it wasn't. Who was it? Who was the guy? Was it? Crap. Was it Galileo? No, it wasn't Galileo. Fucking, what am I saying? He was like the astronomer person. Come on, guys, answer me. Who is it? Okay. Anyway, that was bothering me. Halberds can now hit flying enemies like AVNCs, including Kriara. This is amazing. It was Galileo. Oh, was it? Okay, it was Galileo. All right. Got it. If it's not immediately obvious whether or not an enemy technically counts as flying, you'll be able to see on the monster examine. So I think it was Dale Teeny in my clan chat that just randomly got back-to-back like giga super fast Zora kills using the melee method. I really do wonder if AVNCs are now just going to be only killed with halberds, because think about rolling up to Kriara with full Torva, Noxious Hallie, and like a fucking just Giga Ellie or something like super tanky, and you're just swiping at it. Like literally, I think you're just going to be able to just fuck Kriara up. So we'll see. You know, I don't know what its actual melee defense is, but I'm pretty sure you'll be able to just destroy it on task. Demon Bane weaponry is now effective against the Ice Demon at the Chambers of Xeric. Desert Treasure 2 bosses now drop a gold ring whenever you hit one of the behind-the-scenes vestige rolls. Ooh. You can now check retroactively how close you are. Wait, drop a gold ring additionally, right? If you're already at 2 or 3, when you log in after a change, you'll receive 2 gold rings in your next kill. Okay, but that's in addition to the normal loot, right? Am I missing that? I swear to God, if I just get 2 gold rings, I'm going to be like, what the fuck? Where's my normal loot? But whatever. You can now show your Zuck Slayer helmet to Tizar Ketkeh to benefit from an equipped Zuck helmet within the Inferno and Fight Caves. That's amazing. You actually don't need to be on task, but again, you need to be a GM. GM to GMs only. The combat achievement reward to double the duration of your summon thralls has been moved to Master tier, down from Grandmaster. Cool. Halberd-related CAs for Bloat and Corporeal Beast now specify with the Halberd special attack, and various spell casting animations have been tidied up to reduce visual rubber banding. Very nice. Yeah, get rid of this negative. The negative magic is just silly, but it's like the end of the world. Just very silly. So that's it. The rest of this is just obviously like some merch and whatever else. So huge fan. I did just want to it's almost like a selfish reading of this, just to like put me back into that state of like, oh yeah, this is all the things that have changed. I probably will even do like another deep dive just like on my own, just like looking at some of the elemental weaknesses because there's so many. And I do want to maybe pinpoint maybe on a ramble of like the coolest sort of elemental weaknesses that have changed metas potentially. So anyway, Noxalia, same DPS as Bofa, but instead you're getting slammed with your crap mage defense. But at the same time, you just need range defense because, yeah, you're right. You would get fucked up by the melee or the mage minion, but like, who cares? Because I feel like, well, Kriara's mage attack goes off your range defense. So I feel like it still might be good, but we'll see. But you're saying it's only the same DPS as the Bofa, so maybe it's not that good. I think loot roll is replaced. Rip. Well, it's still cool to get that ring, I guess. And especially that if you get 2 as well, that's kind of cool. So anyway, I'm a huge fan of all this stuff. Shout out Jagex. Shout out to the team over at RS3 trying to fix up their game. Really cool. Leagues for RS3 sounds like an interesting concept. I'm not really a Leagues player, but there is a small little portion of me that's like, yeah, you know, I could give it a little test run if I was feeling it. Anyway, thank you all. Again, the rambles are on Spotify and on Spotify, linked in the comments and the description. So go drop the show a follow over there if you guys would. Greatly appreciate all you guys' support. And shout out to all the channel members and all the subbers. Also, last thing, we are getting the RS guy on the Sae Bae cast. The RS guy is the biggest creator over on RS3, and he actually is like a J mod. I think he was kind of like a full-time J mod, kind of working remotely in Canada, but now he's kind of like a part-time. So we're going to be talking, and I think just what Jagex has basically said about MTX being removed, it's going to be a banger conversation. I'm really not removed. MTX not being fully removed, but they're testing this kind of stuff. So I'm excited to talk with him. And also, it's not set in stone yet fully, but I don't know if you guys saw, but Lake, Mookie, Shays, Mutz, and Veek are starting a group hardcore in August, a 5-man group hardcore with the only players that have gotten Zuck helmets on a normal hardcore. And they're going to be going for Zuck helmets on that. And I have always said that nobody will ever get a Zuck helmet on a group hardcore. Ever. So I'm kind of shaking. But I've reached out to them, and it sounds like there will be a 5-man Sae Bae cast with all 5 of them. Technically a 6-man if you include myself. So it'll be the largest cast we've ever had, and I'm really fucking pumped to talk with them about that. So probably in the next month, we'll be getting them on the cast. Super fucking excited for that. It's going to be a banger, and first time kind of hearing from Shays and Mookie. Mookie, I'm pretty sure just is Praise Foot. I mean, I know that's just Praise Foot. I think he's just like rebranded his kind of name, I guess. So should be a banger. Anyway, guys, I will catch you around. Thank you all for your support, and have a wonderful day. Peace.